Welcome to another edition of Unconventional Playbook. In the house, as always, is my guy, Mr. Patrick Buchanan, the guru of Minneapolis sports. You know, if you want great content, especially about the Minnesota Vikings, there's no better person to have that's more locked in. Pat, what's up, man? What's going on?
Nothing much, man. Excited to have another day be on here. Excited, man. Couple of, you had the Monday night practice. You got preseason coming up. They're going to put our guy out there, which they should. But, I love it. Smart. Getting him out there, Other sad news, we knew what was coming with, Ad, but it is what it is, So I'm ready to get this rolling.
Yeah, man. The preseason game is coming up on Saturday. How much do you think JJ is going to play, man? You think he's going to get I'm thinking at minimum he's going to get like 2 possessions. They'll probably obviously he's going to start. He'll get that first possession depending on how that goes. Maybe they'll put him out there one more time. And then from what I hear, he's going to be done in the preseason. How much time do you think he gets on Saturday?
At max a quarter, minimum 2 possessions, so he can be locked down because you're about to get the joint practices in. Of course, then he ain't going to play in that game or the last game, so which is great for him. The joint's going to give him more, I'm in the sense more than the game is going to give if he was to play in that preseason, just because they'll have more ones versus ones at that time. I think we'll be fully healthy at that moment. I do believe that Fries and Darrisaw will be in that.
Yeah, because you don't want to put him out there with, a lot of second and third string offensive linemen. He's your commodity. I got to give Delton some credit. Delton sent the comment in, and maybe a couple days ago, I wouldn't have totally agreed with him. Like, I've been under this thing, like, man, we've had a lot of people that have been out injured. Obviously, TJ Hawkins has been injured, but it looks like they're going to wean him back into practice. I believe he stepped in there today for a minute. Then they're going to, ramp up his practice reps or whatever. Obviously, you're going to have Addison out for 3 games. And, Justin Jefferson with his hamstring, he's dealing with that. So Delton was like, man, these dudes need to practice and build chemistry. And I've always been on the side of it that in the NFL, you're always going to have people out. You're always going to have injuries. And these guys seem to find a way to figure it out. But the more and more I thought about Delton's comments when he was like, man, right now, Jalen Naylor is our first string wide receiver, I thought to myself, is that detrimental to JJ in terms of he's got so many pieces out? Do you think it's detrimental to him to have guys that he's going to play with for the majority of the season in here early, Pat, to kind of build that chemistry, or is it no big deal?
I think in the sense of because of what they did in the offseason, that they do have chemistry, right? These like we go to 9 to 5s. Their 9 to 5 is on the field with each other. Like, they done repped a lot together. OTAs, time during that little month, that they had off. They found time early on with Jefferson, had time. TJ Hawkinson had a lot of reps. Giving guys quick rest days, and stuff that especially come off of injuries and stuff like that, give them a day or 2 off, like that doesn't do anything. We got over a month before the first game. Jefferson will be practicing next week. Trust me that, knowing that is Addison, I believe, is going to get some burn on Saturday, but I believe Jefferson will be out there. Hawk was back out there today. Kelly will be out there tomorrow. Like, he's ramping up the guys. They're smart. Like, they're smart in what they're doing, making sure they take care of these guys' body. As much as you want people out there, like, what's the importance of Justin Jefferson, 17-plus games or missing 2 weeks and
Right.
making sure that that's fully right? I'm pretty sure, with plenty of time. Like, we ain't talking like we got a game next week playing, on Monday Night Football. So they got plenty of time, but I do believe, just kind of hearing KOC and to speak today, I do believe he will be in them joint practices next week. I think they're really.
And then you also have another dilemma, knowing that, Jordan Addison's going to be out. How much time do you dedicate to Jordan Addison, especially when you're kind of thin and you got to get other guys ready, like a Lucky Jackson or Tay Felton or a Rondale Moore? Like, how much do you sacrifice their minutes for Jordan Addison, who's going to be out for a while?
I think you because Jordan won't be able to get, this is his only burn that he'll get. I believe you give him this preseason. All those other guys you name, and Like they'll play the rest of the way in these preseasons, especially on the back end. But the reps in practice, man, you got to get a couple of with Addison. I think his will taper off. But like you said, he just after the preseason, he can't be around week one. Then he can get back into practice with him. So
Yeah.
I think they're smart enough to figure out reps and that reps that guys need, right? I believe those guys like Naylor, Felton, Moore, Lucky, right, their reps are just gonna turn up more. Which they've already see, I kind of think this is me, and this is where maybe he's so much smarter than us, right? Is that he saw there's chemistry already out there with him and Jefferson, Jets, right? Where if you have Jefferson in, some of these people don't get as many reps. So think about all the reps everybody's been getting without Jefferson, for the last couple of weeks, which I believe in the hamstring, but I believe you like, man, you right now we know we're about to miss Addison. Let him get this, continuity with some of these other guys out here, right? Build up, their connection and things like that, where those two probably spent the most time together and they're more in sync. Yes, I do believe it's a hamstring, but the mad genius of me, like if like I think KLC is just super smart. And he's just
Yeah.
super smart in his approach with it, where Jefferson could have been back, but he's like, whoa, 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 we get these as good reps that these guys are getting right now, right? And keeping Addison at the 2 and Naylor at a 1, or moving guys around and moving Addison to a 1, knowing he's about to be out. So, I just think it's been good reps already, and that's going to ramp up through the rest of the camp.
Yeah, a lot of things came out of the night practice, man. A lot of things. If you have to deal with the good and the bad, let's start with the good first. The Minnesota Vikings defense, Pat, this is a nasty crew. And they didn't even have their full complement of guys there, but you can just tell the mentality of the Minnesota Vikings defense. They are full strength, man. I just wouldn't want to see them. And I've said this, that Monday Night Football game, I feel bad for Caleb Williams. Like, I just feel bad. Number one, he's a young quarterback, so he hasn't seen it all. And he's got a new system. And so you got to take that lack of experience. You got to take that new system on a Monday night prime time football game against, in my opinion, top 3 defense in the league, and they're probably not number 3. That's going to be a tall task for Caleb Williams, man. Looking at them during their practicing, the night practice the other night, man, the Minnesota Vikings defense just looks dominant.
Yeah, that defense is super dominant, and it's great that it's super dominant, especially with, Addison being out. Like, I'm going to go back to there, where I think it just, on that side of the ball, where their probably mindset is like, okay, we were without one of our studs. We still got studs, but we're without one of them. And then this is where I also feel that, that run game is going to be heavy, right? And we're going to lean on the run game heavy. Then when you put the guys in the box, we're going to torch the hell out of you, right? So this defense is going to be everybody talked about KLC and what he does. Yes, we know our offense is fantastic, but this defense is going to get a lot of sacks, a lot of QB pressures. We were top 5 run defense last year. The run defense probably will end up being top 5 again, but I think now the pass defense will even be that much better, and the takeaways will still be there just because the pressure up front. And it's raved all the way across the NFL. Everyone knows this. The front 7 is ridiculous. It's nuts. When you added 2 more things, it's almost like you added 3 more. Right. And we talk about Hargrave and we talk about JA, but the third one is where you have a second-year rookie, like second-year player now in DT, right? So Dallas Turner is like adding a third starter up front in the front 7 with them, because now he's much more ready and he's shining out there. So yeah, that's the bright spot. That's the bright spot Monday. Like they're special. It's special. Not too many times you can say that, but when we see special defenses, we see special defense. And throughout my time of being a fan, and that's over like 28 years, we haven't. This will be the best thing we've ever seen in that 28 year.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a bold statement, and I don't think you're too off the mark for that. The one thing that I like that you just said is you talked about the QB pressures. And I think at time we get so enamored with the sacks. You always got to get to the quarterback. That's the sexy stat. That's what everybody sees. Man, but if you can put pressure on everybody, especially these quarterbacks, a lot, whether you're getting to them and getting the sack or you're just knocking them down, getting a hand in their face, letting them know that you're coming with all these exotic alignments. I mean, you can play mind games. And I think at minimum, that's what the Minnesota Vikings are going to be able to do every game. You are right. You're talking about that NASCAR formation with Grenard, Van Ginkel, Dallas Turner. Man, you've got some nasty brothers up front. And then you got, that whole front seven, which is top 25 in the league. I mean, and for 2025 is going to be the top pass rushes in the league, man. I just think the Minnesota Vikings are set to just succeed. I do think that the secondary for the Minnesota Vikings, there's been a lot of concern at the starting of training camp for them. As this thing plays out, Pat, I'm not concerned right now, man. Dudes are looking really good. Isaiah Rodgers, Jeff Okudah, Byron Murphy Jr. the second. I mean, we've got a crew back there. We're thin. Like, we can't afford any injuries right now. But the guys that we have fully healthy, that's not a bad crew.
No, that's not a bad crew at all. And Jeff was a steal for what the price we got Jeff for, and in this scheme. And Rodgers is ready to show that he can be a full-time corner. Murphy will come back. At Theo Jackson, Jay Ward, Harris Hitman, Metellus. Like that. That's man, a lot of guys we're talking about right there. And yeah, there's other guys coming out. Like Blackman's gonna have to ball out, man, this weekend. Because and then they got some other young guys that they'll find. But I'm excited to see these guys out there. I don't worry about them because I think the only thing that I can say is that I believe we'll be playing from ahead, and people are going to get to that place where they become one-dimensional. And like last year, people are like, oh, our passing defense was low. Well, they became one-dimensionals. That's all teams could do was pass against us. So I think, how do we answer that call? I think how we answer that call now is, like we said, that pressure starts speeding up the clock inside a quarterback's head, right? And when you speed up the clock, the rhythm, the timing routes are off, and that's when you get deflections, tips, interceptions on the back end. So this is a fun group. They displaying us on Monday Night Football.
That's right.
They're displaying one of the storylines that no matter where you turn, what network you turn on, every time you turn in the conversations and I love it because it's the attention on us. So because they got the attention, because we got back-to-back primetime games, the attention's on JJ, but McCarthy, but the talk is about the defense, right? So we get to be on national stage, right, on Monday night and Thursday night football, just to show everybody what we're about, right? NFC games coming out the gates. I mean, we'll see what's going to happen with that. A division and an NFC game, we'll take it all day long.
Yeah, can't wait for it, man. Can't wait for it. The one part that I want to dive into is I want to dive into and dissect this J.J. McCarthy stuff with you, man, because I think, I've been listening to a lot of people after the night scrimmage. I've been listening to people about J.J. McCarthy during the training camp. And, there are a lot of pro J.J. McCarthy supporters out there. There's also a lot of anti-J.J. McCarthy people out there talking about his arm. He doesn't have the arm strength. He comes from a running program in Michigan. And the night practice the other night didn't go too well. It wasn't a J.J. McCarthy thing. It was a total offensive thing. The offensive line got blown up a lot, especially the left side of that offensive line. People that were there know that J.J. McCarthy probably had to run a little bit too much. There wasn't that rhythm to the offense. And, like I mentioned before, one of the U peers out there, Delton, wrote in to me and said, man, he was missing all of his wide receivers, some of his offensive line. So that's why things didn't go well. And then I look at, Pat, a lot of other content creators, some Minnesota Viking fans, some beat writers, people that cover the Vikings. Like, I just get this feeling, man, that whenever things don't go well for J.J. McCarthy, like, everybody's got an excuse for J.J. And here's where I stand with this. Like, JJ's our franchise quarterback. Like, I have no doubt, Pat. I am 1,000% in on JJ McCarthy. I just know he's going to do well. When I believe he's going to be an elite quarterback. When he becomes an elite quarterback, I don't know when that's going to be. I don't know whether that's going to be at the start of the season, after 5 games, after 8 games, but I know eventually he will get there. Usually, a quarterback like him just takes time, and that's okay. You know, you don't have to make excuses for him. You don't have to say, well, he didn't play well because Justin Jefferson wasn't there, or he didn't play well because TJ Hawkinson didn't play, or we're missing a left tackle like Christian Darrisaw. Like, to me, it's like people are making excuses because they're not sure about his talent. Like, I am sure about his talent. And I know, Pat, you've watched NFL long enough to know that there are going to be games where they have everybody. They're going to have Addison. They're going to have Justin Jefferson. They're going to have TJ Hawkinson. They're going to have their offensive line. And guess what? JJ McCarthy may not play well. Like, this is the process of becoming a veteran quarterback in this league. This dude is good, so you don't have to worry about him. But there are going to be some times where, he's got to cut his teeth as a rookie quarterback. If you didn't want that, this is why I was explaining to people why KOC and those guys were maybe entertaining the thought of bringing in Aaron Rodgers in, because it eliminates all of the stuff that JJ is going to have to go through in his young age into becoming a good quarterback. And so I just don't want people to pile on this kid. I don't want people to make excuses for this kid, because what you saw during the night practice is just a process of his development. You've worked with talented young players, whether it's football and basketball, and you know that sometimes things just take time.
Yeah, they take time. Like, here's those people that want to. I mean, I get it, clicks, likes, whatever, views, whatever you want to say, but the real ones, right? The real ones that understand process, right? And understand that there are going to be ups and downs. There are going to be, ebbs and flows, peaks and valleys, right? There's going to be all sorts of things. But you're still telling me right now, with over 30 days away for the first game, that you guys want to peg stuff? And yeah, we can come with excuses here. That's reality, right? That's a real thing, right? If you put Patrick Mahomes out there without Travis Kelce and, Rice, without Rice and Kelce, and you take off, his line, yeah, he going to look different too. Whatever. That's any quarterback, right?
Yep.
Is he progressing the way that he's supposed to be progressing right now? Yeah, 100%. He's doing everything he's supposed to be. Does he supposed to look like last year when he played, he threw an interception. Then after that interception was fantastic, right? Are you going to judge him? He plays 2 series or 1 series and it doesn't go well. You're going to judge it on that? No. And he can handle this, coach. He is a pro. He is a leader. Like, he's learning how to be a professional quarterback, but he's already a pro. He knows how to answer questions. He knows how to take it. I'm pretty sure, like, he's been taught how to stay away. Think about it. This is the NFL and there's pressure, but let's be honest with you. Like, you don't think there was pressure at Michigan?
It was a big time pressure.
In the media and all those naysayers and whatever, when things didn't come on. Like,
big time pressure.
Like, you act like this guy didn't just get, like he ain't playing the Big Ten, top 2 conference in America, and had an undefeated record. Wait, 2 years in a row, he lost 1 game. So what type of pressure he's, like you said before, like he's talked about, right? He's learned how his little Zen or meditation and things like that, just to block it out, because every athlete has to learn how to block that out. People are going to judge, but that's what they're going to do, because you got to find something or whatever. I'm not the person about making excuses. I'm the person about a reality that is a process. He's moving in the right trajectory towards, week 1, right?
1,000%.
Like, that's all that matters. And guess what? He's going to make some mistakes, but he's going to do some good things too. So if you thought he was going to be perfect the whole time, then you ain't seeing this all the right way. Like, you're seeing it wrong. Like people don't understand, like, Darnold had some, Darnold came with baggage last year, but there was a lot of bad stuff that Darnold was doing in camp last year, and he was doing it against Brian Flores defense. Brian Flores defense is better this year than last year. This man is getting a first, Like, you can't prepare a rookie or first year starter any better than what Brian Flores can do for you. And I think he's getting the best preparation because when he go out there, he's not going. He gonna get used to Brian Flores' defense and start torching him. At some point, he gonna start torching that defense, right? And he had moments last week where it bounced back from Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday looked completely different.
Yeah. Yeah.
So he's doing exactly what I'm with you. I got 100% confident in him. I had confidence in him last year, but I also knew that it was someone else's time. Now this is his time, and he's ready to go, man. He's much more mature. He may not have had the reps in practice and all that. Let's stop talking about that. Let's stop talking about last year. Let's talk about what this man has been doing since he's been on the field this spring to now.
One of the things that these professional athletes love to say is that they don't listen to the media. They don't spend a whole lot of time on social media, anything like that. They don't pay attention to their critics. And I just think that's the biggest lie. Like everybody likes to hear what other people are saying about them. And if you don't, usually you have a circle of friends that's going to hit you up and say, hey, Pat, this reporter is saying this about you. So eventually you're going to hear it. As I said before, they've been talking about J.J. McCarthy's arm. And I think the one adjustment that's coming out of training camp, and at least I see it when I look at J.J. McCarthy and how he practices and throws, is that everything has to be a home run ball. Like he zings that ball in there, man. And if you watch J.J. McCarthy in practice, you know that he's got a live arm. He's got a whip, but he's got a whip on every single throw. And I believe, this is just me, he may never admit this, but I think he's trying to prove that he has an arm. I think he's trying to, because every pass has got some heat on it, man, that he throws. And even KOC has come out and said behind the scenes that he's got to get a little bit better touch on his balls, especially when he's dealing with different receivers. Different receivers have a different catch radius. Like you're going to throw a ball to Tay Felton that, you can throw to Justin Jefferson, but you can't do that the other way around. Jefferson has this bigger radius. Tay Felton is still trying to prove himself. So you've got to treat every wide receiver a little bit differently. So I think he's trying to zing that in there. I think he's trying to prove, because there's been some big time national media guys like Colin Cowherd that have been saying that he doesn't have an arm. So I think he hears that stuff. He's got to adjust to that. I mean, do you see that in terms of his progression and the critiques that have been coming out about J.J. McCarthy and his arm?
It might be in the back of his mind, but I think he's really just testing the throws that he can make, right?
Yeah.
I really do, because, I mean, this is where the part, it's not the arm strength. We saw him throw the ball downfield last year. Come on, man. In the preseason, like, are we really questioning that? He can spin the ball. And he's working on different touches or whatever. What I think he's right now trying to do is test his windows. I think he's testing the windows of where he can squeeze the ball at. Like, if you talk about more the accuracy part, arm talent part, right, of being able to squeeze in the tight windows. I think that's what he's really doing. Like, yeah, he probably has a Brett Favre type, fastball or whatever that he's got to taper off, but there's so many different throws that he is working on. He's been working on them since last year. So I don't think, maybe in the back of his mind, coach, but I honestly do think he's testing out the windows that he can throw it in at the speed, the velocity that he's throwing that fastball at.
Okay, I can buy that. Definitely, I can buy that. And like I said, I'm rolling. I'm rolling with JJ. The one thing I have concerned about in terms of the quarterback position, Pat, I don't know what you think, man.
Backup.
But that number two quarterback position, I don't know, Pat. I don't know. Listen, I'm going to give Sam Howell his due. I'm going to see what he does in these preseason games. I just know that he hasn't been looking good in practice. He hasn't been looking good in training camp at all. There is legitimate concern about going out to get somebody once cuts are made and stuff like that, because Sam's not going to be able to do the job. What's your concern about that number two quarterback?
Like they did a couple of years ago when they went out and got Mullins, after we played Vegas, it was like, oh, hey, we want him, Yeah, there's concerns. He's learning this. Sam He's only been in 2 other places. This is 3rd place, and his journey wasn't quite the same as Sam Darnold's or whatever. I think, you coming in new someplace, adjusting the playbooks or whatever. Sam's I just want to see Sam out there first. I'll judge it in live action. Am I worried? My meter is at a 50. Right?
Mine is more than that.
Why am I being honest? Because it's the same thing that I'm saying about J.J. McCarthy.
Yeah.
Process.
Yeah.
Right? It's process between him and Ripken. Like, after this weekend, tell you where my meter's at. Right?
Your meter may be a little bit.
Yeah, and I think this is where the Vikings are at, is they haven't done anything because they need to see this, and they need to have film on these other quarterbacks to see which one they're going to go trade for, right? So my meter's at 50, and it could be at 100 after this weekend, or, it could still be at 50, 75, drop down to 25, wherever. But I just want to see it. Yes, do I have concern? Being at a 50 is having concerns, right? So I do have concerns and worries, just because, you making the defense look real good, just taking balls from y'all. Like, all of you, Max is the only one that has excuse. Ripken, you've been in this system for a year already, right? You're in your 2nd year in it, so you shouldn't be doing the same thing. We could say Brian Flores, well, don't throw the ball there, right? Have some more accuracy, but I'm not worried too much.
I've heard reports again, and as long as these quarterbacks aren't playing that well behind J.J. McCarthy, there's always going to be these rumors. And the one that hasn't really gone away, it keeps rearing its ugly head, is bringing Kirk Cousins back. And so, Pat, you're going to have to help me with this, man. You're going to have to give me a little therapy when it comes to this whole Kirk Cousins stuff, because I don't understand it. Like, I get the fact that Kirk Cousins, everything aside, no matter how you feel about him, no contract, no nothing, his previous years with the Vikings, he would be one of the best backups that you could ever go out and get. Okay, I'm just keeping it real with that. But I don't understand why Kirk Cousins would want to be a backup. Like, he's going to be a backup in Atlanta, and he's going to get paid to be a backup in Atlanta. Why would he want to come to Minnesota and be a backup here in Minnesota? You could argue that he stands a better chance at playing in Atlanta than he has playing with the Minnesota Vikings. Michael Penix, from all the reports that I heard, he hasn't been looking too hot in training camp down there. Now, that's just a training camp thing. Obviously, he's a young quarterback trying to progress, but he hasn't been looking too hot. J.J. McCarthy, unless J.J. McCarthy falls off a cliff, J.J. McCarthy is going to be the starting quarterback here in Minnesota, unless injured or unless he falls off a cliff. Help me understand why people want to see Kirk Cousins back in a Minnesota Vikings uniform.
I don't know, but this organization and Kwesi and KLC, like, when we're done with you, we're done with you. Like, we've changed the culture over, right? Wilson's the only one come back, but he doesn't threaten anything. Wilson's a fantastic leader. I don't think Kurt, in my mind, I don't think he's the leader. We have enough leaders, so he doesn't fit who we are, the direction we're going, even in a backup role. I don't know why people keep bringing it up. It's kind of like the conversation you asked me earlier, all these excuses and stuff with JJ. Like, it's what's comfortable for him. Like, you think people will rah-ha-ha over Sam Darnold? No, it's what people in Minnesota are comfortable with, right? And you've seen them there before. But at this stage of his career, moving family back and forth, I just don't want to see him here, right? I don't want to see him here. I believe there's going to be other options out there for us. I just honestly believe that there's going to be other options out there for us, right? I don't even think I think Flacco might be an option for us, right? Because I don't think he's going to be the starting quarterback for your Cleveland Browns, man.
But see, I don't think Flacco's an option. And the only reason why I say this about Flacco, because I think no matter what Shedeur does on Friday with the Cleveland Browns, I think Joe Flacco is going to at least start game number 1 for the Cleveland Browns and then go from there. And then I also have to look at the Vikings had a chance to get Flacco. And then for all the reports came out, they weren't interested. So I don't know whether he doesn't fit the system, whether KOC doesn't like his game or his attributes. I don't know. But the Vikings had an opportunity to go get him, and I don't know how that would change other than the Vikings being desperate, which I don't think they are, because like you said, they've got other options out there. I don't see Flacco coming to the Vikings, but I do see Kenny Pickett. And I'm not a Kenny Pickett guy, but I think Kenny Pickett is going to be on the outs there in Cleveland because I think Shador is going to tear it up in training camp. He's been looking pretty good in training camp, and I think Joe Flacco is going to be the starter. I don't think they're going to get rid of Dylan Gabriel from Oregon. He's going to be the third string guy, and so I think Kenny Pickett is going to be available. I can see the Minnesota Vikings probably diving in on him, even though I'm not a fan. I would understand. He would be an upgrade from Sam.
Well, what's the one thing Sam Howell does have over the Kirk Cousins, the Joe Flacco's, the Kenny Pickett? His athleticism. Like he can move, he can run.
Yep.
Um,
Yep.
Let me go see Sam Howell. I know I done watch some things of that man. I'm not ready to wave warning flags yet about him, right? That's just me being honest. I'm not ready to wave warning flags, but at the same time, if we had to go to war today, I wouldn't be going to war with him.
Yeah.
That's
I
all
hear
I'm
that, yeah.
saying, so
Yeah.
hopefully you get it from that connotation of what I'm saying.
Yeah, the one thing that we haven't really got a chance to see because this is how training camp is, and they've had a lot of practices without pads, is that Minnesota Vikings running game, man. I'm telling you right now, that's going to be nasty work too. Aaron Jones, Jordan Mason, that offensive line. I've been really impressed with Jordan Mason. I mean, this guy has legs like tree trunks, and he is a violent runner. Like everything that I see from him, he is a violent runner. He's got the speed. He doesn't mind the contact. He's not this type of guy that likes to avoid hits. He's going to run through you. And I think where you're really going to see his value, Pat, is in the red zone. Like we were one of the worst teams in the red zone last year. I think he fixes that instantly. Because I'm telling you, if you give him the ball and we have 8 yards to get to the goal line, on a first run, he's going to get you at least 5 or 6 of those. And then on the second run, he's going to punch that thing in. I don't think you're going to see a lot of tackles for loss when it comes to Jordan Mason.
No, I believe we will be one of the top 10 rushing teams in the NFL this year. What makes you like Jordan Mason's explosive still out there? Oh my goodness, that young buck is big, dude, and he's explosive. One of the things that I know, like Aaron Jones was 1,000 yards and missed some time last year, right? And you got Jordan Mason. Nothing against Chandler, none, but he bigger back, more complimentary, right? Chandler's more explosive, right? The key important was the 2 offensive linemen, free agency, Kelly Fries and then Donovan. But I think one of the most important pieces of the re-signing, which talks about the run game, was Oliver, right?
Yes, sir.
Because of his physical, his toughness, to be able to play at that Z spot, and he's gonna the running game will look better because of the additions we have up front, but also the addition of Jordan Mason. And I think he's going to be very dynamic. I believe that he honestly means this, where he's going to save both of their legs, where it might be a 55-45, 50-50, closer to something like that. But because Mason is so much younger, you're going to see some different things. Like it's going to be lightning and thunder, right?
Yeah.
It's like it was with Ron Dane and Tiki Barber, it's going to be lightning and thunder with them too. And it's going to be dynamic to watch. And I think that's what is going to help the progression of J.J. McCarthy, like the run game and Jordan Mason. Jordan Mason was that blew me away though, Coach. Like, have you pinched yourself yet to say, wait, 49ers traded him away? And
Unbelievable.
And I think they traded him because how good he played, that was a threat to their star running back, right?
Yeah.
That's a threat to McCaffrey, where it's not a threat where Aaron Jones is much more older and he understands where he at, and Aaron is going to welcome that in, where McCaffrey probably has more of a different ego than Aaron Jones does, and that was threatening McCaffrey over there. So they had to, because that was a threat to McCaffrey.
Yeah, Aaron Jones better welcome him in because, he hasn't been healthy the last few years. Like, he got through 17 games last year, but he was broke up a lot of those games, getting bandaged on the sideline, playing through injuries. I admire his toughness. Aaron Jones is a tough dude, man, but, he should welcome someone that can spell him a little bit. And I don't know if you saw when KOC was asked about how he was going to use both of them, he had that smirk on his face where he said, they are going to keep each other fresh and healthy. So I believe you're right, man. They are going to split time right down the line. And this is an upgrade from Ty Chandler. Like, you are still going to have a home run threat when Aaron Jones goes out of the game or vice versa. And I think that's just going to benefit the Minnesota Vikings, man. This is going to be the best run game that KOC has had since he's been here for sure. And it's not even close.
No, it's not even close at all. You think about, certain things. Like, I believe we're going to see, let's just say they have what? Say they have 70 snaps, 70, 75 snaps. I can envision seeing 15 snaps of them both on the field at the same time.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
Yep. But also when we get our captain and we want to go in the goal line and eye back and put our big forward back in there, right? It's problems there.
Yep.
That's problems because the fullback can get the ball. Like, him and Mason in the I-back formation is going to be tough. With Oliver in there, that's a big lineup. And then he can throw out of that because that's just going to drop everybody in the box. And if you make the right audible or the call out of that and you look like you over there on the sidelines, KLC, you're like, yeah, we got him. Look at him. Look how many they got in that box. They don't even see this play action coming. And you get to burn them there. So
yeah,
I think there's just special things you could do with him. And I know he put a lot of plays in the playbook this year. And they was talking about like how the playbook got bigger, how he put a lot more plays.
Yep.
And why would you put more plays if you didn't think this kid couldn't handle it, though? Think about that.
That's a good point.
Man, they've been molding that kid for a year. Over a year, Coach. They've been molding him. Yeah. So everything's in place. Like I said, I'm excited for Saturday. Here one of the greatest things is we haven't had, and I'm knocking on wood here. I start to tell myself, don't worry about it, but there hasn't been any major injuries, right? And I knock on wood at that. I hear stuff come from other camps here, there, whatever. But I think we have, Tyler and his crew are some of the best trainers out there. Tyler's a great guy. I know he works with multiple of the professional sports and college teams here, but they're phenomenal, and he's a great dude. And they make sure they take care of them guys, and they taking care of them. And I love the way that they're taking care of them.
Yeah, the one thing about the Minnesota Vikings team, man, is that I think their trainers and their staff that they put in a lot of preventative measures to not have those big time injuries. And sometimes it really doesn't matter what you do. You just have bad luck on any given practice or any given game. But I think the Minnesota Vikings do it better than anybody. When you look at this team, Pat, I think this is going to be one of the harder years to make this team. And it's hard to make an NFL team, man. It's hard to make that 53. You're talking about some of the best college players in the world. They don't get a chance to make that 53-man roster. Is there anybody that you can see on this roster right now that may be a dark horse to make this Minnesota Vikings football team that you think is going to earn a 53-man spot?
Dark horse to earn a 53-man spot.
There's a lot of different ways you could go. And I'm not talking about practice squad. I'm talking about being on the 53-man game roster. That's where it gets tough because a lot of these guys that we like are going to be practice squad guys. The danger of putting guys on the practice squad is other teams can come and snap them up. So you really got to be careful with that. That 53 is going to be tough to make. And so it's going to be interesting to see where the Minnesota Vikings go. So I just wanted to pick your brain. I'm like, man, is there somebody out there that people really aren't expecting? I've got a couple of names of guys that are on the fringe or on that practice squad bubble.
Are you asking me, do I know who I feel might make it or is just on that fringe?
Who might make it? Who will, because that's where it gets tough. Like, you can look at pretty much all the draft picks, maybe Bartholomew, the tight end, who's probably going to be out for the year with his injury. I could see them possibly cutting him. If he was healthy, I think he would be a lock to be that third tight end or at least on the practice squad.
Who I'm really worried about, and it's a former Sooner.
Okay.
And I don't know, right, with Kobe King being drafted, and
I know where you going.
I worry about Brian Asamoah, right?
Yes.
I really worry about Brian because Pace was undrafted, that same and Pace outdid you, and Kobe King comes from Penn State, and Brian, you just haven't, and Wilson is a fantastic special teams, and you already know Cashman's not going nowhere. So
That's my point.
I worry about Brian, right?
That was going to be mine. That was going
Like,
to be
I'm
who
just
I
being
was gonna
honest,
bring
Coach.
up.
I was sitting there thinking like I was layering it, right? I was, starting in the trenches, the linebackers and D-backs. And I was like, that's a deep linebacker room already.
Yep.
And I really worry about, like, he's my number one on my chart that I worry. If he made it, I wouldn't be shocked, but then I would also look at the depth chart, to see who they didn't keep, right?
Yeah.
Or is it be flow like, well, we're running 3-4, so we got to keep 8 linebackers, right? I want 8, not 7, So,
Yeah.
if he was to keep 8 linebackers, I could see that and understand that. But if you talk about 7, then you talk about JG, Gink, Dallas Turner, Cashman, Ivan Pace. I think Kobe King makes it. That's 6. Is Brian number 7?
Oh no, man.
No, Eric Wilson. As part of special teams, he
I don't know, man. I don't know. And see, this is and this is what I'm talking about because I'm just like you. I'm playing the numbers game. I'm looking at it every day, and I don't see Brian making this team. That's just me. And again, that's another. Brian Asamoah was what, a 3rd round draft pick?
he's one of the one. He was Kwesi's first year picks, I believe, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that's another pick gone from Kwesi's cabinet, but it may just play out that way. I'm looking at the secondary as well. I mean, right now, I think Nudie is a lock to make it. I think Jeff Okudah, who when he came in, people were talking about fringe bubble. He's going to make it at that number 3.
Yeah.
Obviously, Rodgers, Byron Murphy Jr.
Yeah.
going to make it.
At 4.
That's 4 right there. You got in that secondary Josh Metellus, Theo Jackson, Harry the Hitman,
and I think Ward is going to make it too. I think Ward.
But see, Ward is going to. Do you see a scenario where Blackman doesn't make this team?
He's got the most to prove.
But he's coming off of ACL and he's a high draft.
He's got the most to prove.
It's tough.
He's playing every preseason game.
Yeah, he's got to.
He's got the most, like you said, Nudie is number 4 right now on the depth chart.
Yep.
Right? And Blackman's got to outplay some of the other undrafted rookies that we have as well. So I don't know. I mean, I'm counting 4 and 4 at corner and safety right now. How many is he going to have? 10 total D-backs that he keep, So I don't, if his number's 25, right, where he was like, yeah, you get 25 defensive players that you're going to keep. Some of them going to play special teams, obviously. But if we count, he gets 10 of those, 8, how many up front do he get? He gets 7 up front. Like, I could see it, I don't know. I believe they'll have 10 defensive backs that they keep on the team.
Okay.
Between safeties and corners.
It's going to be interesting to see how that plays out because the numbers, just looking at the numbers, that's what's going to make it tough. That's what's going to make it tough. On the offensive side of the ball, I got a name for you where people thought about, this guy may be a practice squad guy. I think he's going to be on the 53, and that's Silas Bowden from Texas. I think out of all the, I don't want to call them gimmick guys, but guys that can do special teams, that have a certain set of skills, the guys like Rondale Moore, the guys like Tay Felton, the guys like Silas Bowden. I think Silas Bowden he's got the best hands. He's jittery. He knows how to play in space. You go back and watch his Texas film. He knows how to play in space, and he's a playmaker. And I think out of all of them, he's the best special teams guy that you have. So I think he's going to be a lock to make that 53-man roster. Maybe somebody that's flying a little bit underneath the radar in terms of being on that fringe, being on the practice squad and on that 53-man roster. What do you think about Silas Bowden?
No, I think Silas is good. I count him as a lock, right? I count him as a lock in there on the offensive end, like for all the reasons you just said, right? He's got special talent, young legs. Then you get to develop that, and you don't want to get rid of something like that, right? With the talent and the his ability, his unique ability of his athleticism, what he's able to bring to the table, right? Um, you, I'm about to jump on the offensive end, and I'm about to say a name to you that might blow you away by me saying
Okay.
this name to you. Okay,
All
but
right.
first I'm gonna talk about it. Like, Ty Felton was like real elusive in Monday night's practice, right? When he was working with the special teams, like Ty Felton can move differently, man. And he's
Yeah.
figuring out NFL special teams. I'm gonna just share that. Like, don't be blown away. He's figuring it out. So I just want to say that. But that's not my offensive player is I would not be shocked if you talk about us going to get another quarterback or whatever. I would not be shocked if Ty Felton is not on this 53-man roster and we fill in a different running back there. I would not be shocked if Ty Felton, because he is not at this stage this year, the number of years you've been here, that I keep still hearing the word is consistency about him, and he's inconsistent. He's inconsistent. And I think I could see us making sure we have a bigger back there. So
Well,
Ty
Felton's going to play more of a scat-like slot position anyway. Like, he won't be in the backfield a whole lot playing running back, you don't think, do you?
No, but if something happens with one of our running backs, he's the guy.
Yeah.
I just think that he lacks pass pro way too much. He misses a lot of reads, coach. He misses a lot of reads, and I would not be shocked. I mean, I like the guy, right? I got to meet him, fantastic guy, but like at the end of the day, this is a job, right? And you either can do it or you can't. So Ty Chandler is my worry about that 53-man roster.
Oh, you said Ty Chandler, not Ty Felton.
No, not Ty
Chandler.
Felton. I meant Ty Chandler.
Yeah. I'm right there
Ty
with
Chandler. I'm sorry if I said Ty Felton. Hey, UP, my bad. I was in my head. I was talking Felton, but then I was trying to switch to Chandler. It's Ty Chandler.
Ty Chandler can't pass block, man. He misses too many assignments. He can't pass block. So I don't think he's on the 53 pass.
Now I don't think he's on the 53 at all, neither, coach. Right?
Yep.
Like I don't think he's on the 53.
Yep. Ty Chandler's going to have a hard time making his team. If you had to, before we get out of here, Pat, you take a look at all of the newcomers that we had, whether it's undrafted free agents, whether it's guys that we drafted in the NFL draft or free agents. What do you think, if you had to pick one guy, man, what was the biggest, best pickup that the Minnesota Vikings picked up this offseason?
Where there was free agency or draft or undrafted?
Oh yeah, just one, man. Just one. You had to pick. Who do you think is going to make the biggest difference on this Minnesota? I mean, and you got a lot to choose from. And you got a lot of guys that are going to make some noise.
Man, that is a tough question, because I can name out 5 of them, right?
It's a tough question. It's a tough question.
The only reason I'm going to answer this question this way is because our quarterback is important and the center spot is important, and I believe Kelly is the biggest addition to the team. I'm glad we ain't got Bradbury anymore, and we got Ryan Kelly with our center. So I'm gonna go with Kelly at the center. Like that, I was tinkering, coach, between which side of the ball to go to whatever, but our quarterback is in an important position, and to protect coming up the center and the communication there. And you're talking about a person who's been a 2-time Pro Bowler before, to be under center with a young guy. I think Kelly.
Yeah. I got to go on the defensive side of the ball. Kelly's not a bad pick at all. I got to go on the defensive side of the ball because I think it links everything in place. Is my boy Hargrave. I mean, that dude, man, that dude, you look at the years that Grenard and Van Ginkel had last year. I think Hargrave is going to have the same type of year. And here's where it gets scary, because there are going to be multiple times where you have Grenard, you've got Van Ginkel, you got Dallas Turner, and then you got Hargrave, and then you got all the other exotic people that you can bring up to the line, Blake Cashman, so on and so forth. It is going to be one of the, when you look at how that young man works in the seams of the offensive line to create interior pressure, I don't think Minnesota Viking fans understand what they're going to be watching when he gets on the field game one against Chicago Bears. See, this is why I think the Bears are going to have some trouble, because you're going to have to be a hell of an offensive line to be able to handle all of that. And there is only a few top tier offensive line teams out there. So I'm going to go on to say this. I think 85% to 90% of the offensive line that the Minnesota Vikings play won't be able to hold up.
No.
Teams are going to have to revert to getting the ball out of their quarterback hands quick, because it's going to change how offensive coaches approach the game. You're going to see a lot of bubble screens. You're going to see a lot of West Coast stuff. You're going to see a lot of quick slants. You're going to see teams trying to establish the run, a lot of run-pass option, because you're not going to be able to hold up against that Minnesota Vikings defensive line. And so bringing that young man in, it just puts everybody where they're supposed to be, and that's what makes the Minnesota Vikings defense tough.
See, that was my tinker right there. That was
Yeah,
my
man,
tinker.
it's tough.
Like, I was going, the grave, diggers. Like, I was like, where am I going? Like, which? And I just thought about J.J. McCarthy, so that's why I went there. But man, that was my first thought was, and I'm with you. And yeah, the people, they're gonna be bringing more people in the box to help block for them, which gives them less to get out in, to run routes and get out in space. So yeah, he's gonna cause havoc. And some people, that caused havoc for us. We've seen people throughout the years, and we could talk about Jerry Ball, how he caused. You could talk about the Williams, brothers, what the Williams did for us interiorly, what they did. And I just think back at Ball and the Williams of what Kevin, what's the other Williams? Kevin and Pat Williams, right?
Pat Williams, Pat used to pat his belly.
So what those and Jerry Ball did when he was in, like, that is like that we haven't seen that interior pressure since then,
Yeah.
So it's been a while, and this is gonna be nice to see that interior. Look, hey, who might be the happiest person that was already on this defense, right? Who do you think, if you were with the additions that we got, if you were on the defensive side, who you think is the happiest person on the defense? Like, I got my opinion of who I think it is, and I want to hear what yours is.
Somebody that's already been on the defense?
Yes, that was part of this defense last year.
I would say Harry the Hitman, number one. That's one, but that's not my pick.
That's not mine.
But I know that he's happy. Probably Harrison Phillips.
I mean, that Harrison Phillips, to get these two up front with him. Like, think about that. Harrison Phillips was like, hey, Quasi, B-Flow, Kelsey,
right.
Thank you. Because now that takes so much off of him. And now he's got these other two guys up front, still with the young guys like Levi Rodriguez and things like that. But like that, took a lot off of that man who's one of our captains, one of our leaders.
Yeah. You brought up LDR, man. Does he get run this year? I've been hearing people talk about that he's going to get some run this year. He's been looking good. I believe that he's been looking good. I don't know where he breaks in. I don't know. And in terms of getting run on this team, I don't see. I mean, you still got Redmond on this team. He's no joke either. So when you look at LDR, man, I'm just trying to figure out.
I tell you what.
Where, yeah.
Let's say 70 snaps again. You don't think that man can get five, 6 snaps here or there, right? You don't think he can? And he's going to get late snaps because we're going to be up, right? So he's going to get. In the regular rotation, no, he doesn't get high percent snaps because it's going to be hard to with the front seven and the versatility of what he can go with. Now, maybe I don't. Maybe it's a long.
I'll believe it.
I don't know, Coach.
I'll believe it when I see it. I mean, a lot of people thought he was going to get some snaps last year. That didn't happen. You know, there were a lot of games where he wasn't even dressed. You know, I don't think that's going to be the case this year for him. I just don't see, it all depends on what people's perspective is of getting run with the team. You know, will he never hit the field? I don't see that. But I just think we got some studs out
You
there
got
this
three
year,
up
man.
front guys and you got versatile linebackers that can put their, fingers in the ground, in the dirt, so.
Yep.
Yeah,
You got Dallas Turner that's going to play some D tackle this year, man. He's going to be lined up in that spot. That's going to take reps away from LDR. I hope to see it because I like LDR. I just don't know how they get him on there to give him a lot of run.
Yeah.
It's going to be tough.
I don't know what plan he got out there. I mean, you don't want to wear the other guys down. Hargrave and Jonathan Allen and Phillips are a little older. You don't want to wear them down, so you might, get them here or there where maybe you get them a first, second, third down and then make subs or something. Like, I don't know. Like, maybe they got a plan. They got to have a plan.
Yeah.
They got a plan.
They got to have a plan, man. Yeah. Speaking of defensive players, former Viking Anthony, but we had former Viking John Turner on the show a few days ago. Anthony Barr is retiring from the NFL. I have really, really good memories of Anthony Barr, man. I remember when we drafted him from UCLA, then brought his teammate in, Eric Kendricks, in from UCLA. Anthony Barr was a stud, man. He was a stud, gave us some really good years for the Minnesota Vikings, left the Vikings, and I believe he went to Dallas, and then ended up coming back for another year later on in his career. But hats off to Anthony Barr, former Minnesota Viking, gave us some great years with the Purple.
Fantastic years he gave with us, right? Especially in that time where Zimmer was over here. Early in those early years of Zimmer, were building, right in his second year, I think he went out and got these guys, and they were fun. Him and Eric was fantastic for us. And Anthony Barr is. Here's how I say it. Like, we love Van Ginkel, right? And like before there was Van Ginkel, we had Anthony Barr who was doing stuff like that. Van Ginkel just does it at a different level. But we had Anthony's athleticism on the outside, who can run and jump, screens like that, pick people off, but also cause havoc in the backfield. And I appreciate what Barr did for us during those times that we had those playoff runs then.
Yeah, did a great job for the Purple. So good luck to Anthony Barr in his retirement, man. Hope he does something well. Not sure what his plans are. He should be a coach. Everybody says he got a great mind for the game. So maybe he'll end up coaching somewhere. But Pat, always good to have you on, man, rehashing. We got that exhibition game coming up on Saturday. Looking forward to watching that and having you come back and hash out that thing with you, getting your thoughts on that, man. So thanks again for being on Unconventional Playbook.
Oh, yeah, man. I appreciate being it. I appreciate, UP for always, welcoming me on here, and yourself as well, Coach. Yeah, I'm excited to start watching a lot of different teams tomorrow. It's a lot of different storylines, intriguing things happening out there this weekend. So I'm excited to look at a lot of rookies and a lot of, guys who are on bubbles and a lot of teams. So it'll be fun this weekend to watch some football.
All right, man. And we'll be back later on this weekend to hash out that game, to give you our thoughts. Again, please hit that like and subscribe button. This has been Unconventional Playbook, and we will make sure to see you when we see you. Skol.